Hello and welcome to the Monday, January 8th, 2018 already meeting for the Auburn Department of Public Health. And first thing on the agenda is, excuse me for just a minute because this says, are we just approving this agenda for Monday, November 27th?
Oh, I think she gave you the that's the wrong packet.
Okay. I'm like, oh, we're going back in time.
Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that.
That's okay. Okay. So we're going to review. Do we need to add or remove any items that are previously listed?
I don't believe so. So we have just some things that we're going to add as far as the for solid waste. We have some new information that we'll give for you tonight, and I think everything else and some updated information I think on renewals that we got from today. But we do have renewals in the inspection area.
All right, very good. So we have no minutes to approve. So the first thing on the agenda is a hearing. So it is now 6:06, and I'd like to open the hearing for the well and septic variance request for 236 Leicester Street.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Carolyn. All right, so for 236 Leicester Street, we do have we have two variance requests. In your packets, the owner of the property, Ms. Page, Dorothy Page, is represented here with Mr. Mallett, and they are proposing to keep the current well on the property as an irrigation well. It is my understanding that the property has been connected to public water.
Not yet, but it's going to be.
That's the plan for it. And once the property is connected to public water, they would like to retain the well. As in other requests that we have had for wells to remain on the property, just show it to you on the plan here. This is the most updated plan that we received from the engineer, DC Engineering, so Jay DuBois. Here is Leicester Street, the existing two-family house, and well was discovered to the right of the dwelling. We also did some perk testing and soil evaluation for the septic system, and so this is the proposed septic system for the property. We have an existing cesspool area in this location, and at this time they would like to keep the well for irrigation purposes once the municipal water service is connected. As in the past, the board has considered keeping wells as long as there is a need and that there is protection from the municipal water service to the existing well. We have done that in the past for making sure that a licensed plumber is separating all of the plumbing work and provides proof of service, and the water district is notified as well. So it is a request that we have received in the past, and the board has considered these type of requests. There are often a standard condition, as I stated, and then there sometimes are additional conditions based on what the well will be used for. So I'm just going to separate the two requests out. That one is for the irrigation well, and then if you'd like I can tell you about the septic variance now, or...
Sure, why don't you go ahead.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay. So this property, as I stated, is a two-family. It's an existing two-family. Per the assessor's office, Has been a two-family for forever, for quite some time, and is noted on the assessor's card. The town of Auburn has a Title V regulation that does not allow for a septic system to be serving property that has more than 2 dwelling units. So the prohibition in the local regulation, so again, this is in addition to the state regulation for Title V. Title V does not have any requirements on it. However, the local regulation has this as a violation to install any system or installation of systems serving 2 or more separate dwelling units shall not be allowed in the town of Auburn except by special permission. While I was not here when this regulation was approved, however, I do understand what the caution was. We had encountered properties in town that we were not aware that a septic system was serving more than 1 dwelling unit. I think we had a case actually where it has actually 2 separate houses, so 2 separate structures with one septic system. So with that, there is caution just to make sure that the board is aware that a septic system is going to be serving 2 separate dwelling units. This is one structure. It is one structure having the 2 units. And it is my understanding in speaking with the engineer that it's going to remain one owner. The owners are here and they can verify that for you. However, with it having one owner, we just want to make sure that 2 dwelling units impacting the septic system, we want to make sure that proper maintenance is done on the system so that it doesn't go into premature failure. So this is something that obviously comes to the board for your determination of whether or not you would allow the system to serve the 2 dwelling units. I do not, in speaking with the engineer, I do not see any reason why it shouldn't be allowed. However, my recommendation to the board would be to note that the system is going to be installed per Title V. They can note that on the as-built plan, and also we would note it on the certificate of compliance, which is the document that is issued once a system has been installed. So that document gets signed by the engineer, the installer, and then the town. And all three basically are stating that the system was designed and installed per Title V requirements. And obviously, this would meet the town requirement as well.
And what was there before? It was just just upgrading?
Yeah, so they had this note right here, the existing septic system. I had the engineer note it here. So this is an existing cesspool. So obviously this is much improved for the environmental footprint. We're upgrading obviously to something that is compliant and is going to treat the wastewater safely. Do you have any questions for me or for the owners? Okay. The one note as well, so we do have a request received for the variance from the engineer. I actually received this from him, and as part of what the plan review that I did, we do have a floor plan layout. This floor plan layout will denote the number of bedrooms per the design. So, in speaking with the owners, they have made some changes to the floor plan, but we have enough capacity for the changes that they're talking about. So it would be more conservative. They're actually taking out a bedroom.
Okay.
So I think with, all the parameters that you had said, you're involved, you have an engineer involved and everything, I see no reason to make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to, motion to approve
Yeah.
the septic variance?
Yeah, the septic variance,
Yeah.
Okay.
for now.
So at this point, I'll close the discussion portion, the evidentiary portion of and we'll make a motion to approve the variance. I second that motion.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay, beautiful.
And,
So that would approve the septic variance?
yes,
For the two-family?
for the
And-
two-family at 236 Leicester Street.
That's correct. And now, this would be for the request for the well. Again, this is a request that they would like to keep the current well as an irrigation well at the above-mentioned property, 236 Leicester Street. And you would consider motion to approve or motion to deny?
I
Make a motion to approve.
second that motion to approve.
Okay?
Yes. All in favor? Aye.
Okay. And we will put the standard
For, that it's
requirements
the standard requirements for the plumbing, for the plumber to keep everything
separate.
separate,
Okay.
correct?
So-
I've been there,
Yeah.
And so,
We've
Mr.
done
Mallard,
before.
Yeah,
Mr.
now I'm
Mallard
sure
has-
you have a more eloquent way of putting it, I'm sure of that too.
so that would satisfy the request that you had.
How long do we have, I know we can't do it now, so how long does it take for us to get permission?
The
Trade
re-
Center
request for what?
to get going on it?
So what we'll do is I will connect with Jay. We'll get the approvals in order. And so we also, if you can get me that revised plan.
Or one phone call?
Okay, so the revised floor plan, so that we'll have that. So
Okay.
we've got the same thing as what the building department has. And then we can reach out to you probably later this week.
Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Do you have any further questions?
No.
Okay.
We're all set. Thank you.
Are you comfortable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time tonight.
Appreciate it.
Get this out of the way.
Thank you very much.
So at this point, it is now 6:17 and we have another hearing for a food permit extension for 321 Southbridge Street.
Sure, thank you very much. So we have 321 Southbridge Street is a food establishment, Express Stop. And they are a convenience store that has an existing retail food permit. The business recently wanted to add limited food service. So they basically wanted to add some coffee service to their business. As with, a lot of the convenience stores, it's another way to invite customers to the store and increase business. So when I say recently they wanted to add this, in the month of November, I believe it was late November, correct, Paula?
November 21st.
November 21st, so they added this limited food service. They went through the requirements, and Eileen did an inspection. She issued the limited food service permit, and as part of this, at this time of year, usually anything in the month of November into December, if we're adding a new permit, we have accepted request from the business owner to extend the permit into the following year. It's been a request that we have received before in the past, that the board has considered depending on the time of year. This permit was issued at basically the end of November. So essentially that fee is $100, correct?
$100.
So it's a $100 fee to do the limited food service. That fee basically would cover until December 31st. So they got approximately about 5 to 6 weeks on that permit fee. So they have put in a request in your packets to see if they could extend that fee into 2018 to be good from January to December. Again, that is up to the board's discretion. In the past, it has been requested, and to the board's discretion, depending on the timing, and depending on circumstances, you have approved or denied that request. So this is for the convenience store. It's right at Drury Square, right behind the Verizon store.
Yes.
Correct? So it's the that convenience store. Obviously, it was vacant for some time. We're happy that somebody has, brought it up and back on the tax rolls. So we're happy for that progression. But this is certainly a request that can be considered. The fee is $100 for the limited food service. They have also have an existing retail food permit that they have sent in. It's my understanding that they've sent in the renewal, but this would be something that that you could consider. Paula, am I missing any of
No,
the
I just wanted
details on
to put
that?
in that the week that they got the permit was the week we sent out our renewals, so it was that close in time that we were sending out renewals.
So renewal
Okay.
time, yeah.
All right. So make a motion to approve. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about 5, 6 weeks, new
Right.
business in town, well,
Okay,
you know,
Yeah, I'd like to second that motion.
okay.
All in favor?
aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
And it is now 6:22, and the hearing for unfit for human habitation at 10 White Terrace.
Okay, thank you very much. So 10 White Terrace, in your packets, I had sent out a copy of orders that were issued by both the Board of Health, the Building Department, and additionally, we also had animal control. So we had orders that were issued from DDIS regarding site visit that was made to the property at the end of December. The DDIS officials were contacted by the Auburn Police for concerns at this property. There were, it was identified that there were individuals living at the property without heat and basic utilities. And so an inspection was made by myself and the building commissioner. At the time, there were no owners present. However, we did observe some concerns for existing conditions. This picture on the top and the first two pictures are from the site visit done on December 28th. And it shows that a stove was being used for heating the house. There was also, at that time, there was water service. However, the first responder identified that there was no hot water. So there was water service at the kitchen sink and limited water in the bathroom. There are concerns also for whether or not there were smoke detectors present, and having a consistent plumbing source of water. I should also identify that the building department and myself had been to the property previously, in about a month or so previously, for some concerns at the property. At that time, I was able to speak with the occupants and had identified that if there was no consistent heat or water at that time, the water was not working, and observed some temporary forms of heat. Had worked with them to identify that they shouldn't be staying in an unsafe situation. The fire department had assisted our department with installing some emergency safety combo detectors, and ordered the owners, so DDIS had ordered the owners not to stay in the property. They had identified that they were working on getting some repairs made. They had contacted a plumber and were working to see about restoring the existing furnace.
Are the occupants the owners? Were they
The
landlords?
occupants are family members.
Okay.
The owners of the property, I believe, are both deceased, and family members were, at least one family member was one of the occupants. So when we were called at the end of December to the property, we had some knowledge of some concerns that had been previously identified. We attempted to speak with the occupants at that time to identify the serious concerns. Unfortunately, as you can see, that the stove was still being used as a heat source. There were concerns about whether or not the detectors were still there from the previous installation, and definitely no hot water. There was also an animal that was identified as in the home, and so obviously a lot of concerns at the property. The town itself, in the file, had been to the property previously for concerns in the past. I think you can see in the picture, in the pictures we had, there's some trash at the property, and debris, some overflowing buckets and so forth. So, you know, obviously things that need to be addressed. A determination was made based on the situation at hand when we went there on December 28th. For both the building commissioner and myself, both felt that it was a dwelling that nobody should be occupying due to the safety issues, and so the Board of Health declared it unfit for human habitation. The building department also has an order identifying the safety concerns, and we posted the property, and we have also contacted the water department because the plumbing that was there was not connected properly. and the furnace actually was removed from the property, so it's not capable of having a central heating system, which is why you see the picture with the stove and a fan. So anytime there is a serious concern and a determination made such as this, obviously the board has the ultimate say to to endorse the determination or find a reason why it should be overturned. The property was posted, certified letter and regular mail letter was sent out to the occupants. Obviously, there's nobody here for this hearing. And I don't make determinations like that lightly, but I do feel that it is a serious concern, and I don't believe there should be anybody residing in this property until the basic utilities and the proper steps have been taken to restore heat, water, smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, even at a minimum. It's just looking at just the basics for what we're looking at. There's additional solid waste issues at the property, there's overflowing trash, piles in the yard.
I make a motion to sustain your recommendation and order that it's unfit for human habitation on December 28th, 2018. 17, I'm sorry. Yeah.
At this
Property remain posted, secured, and no one can live there.
Okay. At this point, with these properties we have in the past, typically when we post them, we give a chance, and obviously we've had some time since the 28th to monitor the properties. If there's any reason that people are actually going back into the property, we would move forward with a board and secure. Again, we don't usually start out with a board and secure, but if somebody ignores the order and continues to go inside the property, we would want to identify that's an option. So it's it would be my recommendation that if people continue to occupy the property, to board and secure, and obviously I would want your approval for that.
Yeah, I mean, can you just do that on your own without having to wait for a board meeting?
Yes.
I just want to make sure that in the time lapse that we have a meeting, if something drastic happens, you need to do it, that you have the authority, we don't have to ask us, you just
So
do
that's
it.
what you're asking us to approve the motion, board and secure, if there's a problem with people
If not,
trying to get into
if
the home.
needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So just to reiterate, so my motion is to sustain your order for it being unfit for habitation as so ordered on December 28th, 2017. And also to include that if residents do continue to reside or try to gain access into that you have the authority without board approval. Well, we're approving it now that you have to go and do a board and secure after that.
Thank you.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. And I'll keep you updated on the property as we progress.
It is now 6:34, and I'd like to open the hearing for the well variance request at 45 Prospect Street. Oh, I remember we talked about this.
Yeah, so, thank you. This 45 Prospect Street was a well variance request that we received back in November. And we had discussed it at our November meeting. And we had, there had been some discussion from the board as to what was at the property. And at that time, I know that Eileen had been to the property, but I had not. And so I think Eileen was absent from the last meeting, so we wanted to make sure we're on the same page as to my understanding of what was out there. Eileen and I did a site visit after the last meeting and went out to the property. Property is undergoing some renovations. There's a new owner involved, Mr. Chassis. And so there was a contracting crew out there, which allowed us to enter the barn to see there's actually a well in the barn. And I think I had also identified that there was possibly another well connected to the house. So the contractor did allow us to see the property has a big, huge barn that I think has been there for a long, long time, old farmhouse there. And the well is actually in the lower portion of the barn that I believe was probably used for agricultural purposes. So there's that well, and then there's also a well that's serving the actual dwelling with a well expansion tank inside the house. What I don't have for you today is an actual plan layout of that and just identifying one of the, I think some of the concerns that we had talked about was whether or not the property was going to be connected to public water, which we did confirm that they did connect in November. And then we also did confirm with the sewer department that the property is connected to public sewer. So you know, the sewer connection was done many years ago, back in '99. The public water connection was done more recently, in November of 17. And now at this point, the new owners are looking to keep the existing well as an irrigation well. At that time, I think Mr. Chassis was not completely aware of the barn well, and so we just wanted to make sure that the well that's in the barn is not connected to, in any way, the well that's serving the dwelling. The well that's serving the dwelling is intended to be used as an irrigation well in my conversations with the owner. So at this point, we would need to make sure, if the board was inclined to approve this, the well that's serving the dwelling to serve as an irrigation well, to make sure that none of the piping is connected to the barn well, and all of the plumbing is separate, serving the wells connected from the municipal water.
Correct. Yes. Okay.
So the water district, just to add to that, the water district is aware that there is at least the one well, and the well that's in the barn is additional. So what I would recommend is, if you were to consider approving this this well request, would be to just have proof that a licensed plumber has separated all the plumbing, and to verify from a well professional that the well in the barn and the well serving the dwelling is not connected in any way. The well in the barn has a huge, it's a huge rock cover. So for safety, that has been put in place. I don't see any safety issues with that. It would take several people to actually move it. So you could put additional conditions on that as well, if you wanted.
So I think, make a motion that we approve, given your stipulations with licensed plumber, everything has to be separate. And you went there, you saw there wasn't any safety concerns with the cover being on the well? Like no kids could fall into this well or anything like that?
No, when I saw the well, it's covered by a rock cover. However, you know, if the board wanted a more permanent solution over that, so that nobody can move it out of the way, I do want to identify one of the reasons that we know about that well is because this property was vacant for many years, and one of the neighbors was looking for actually a lost dog in the area and had stumbled upon this area with the well being open. So it was uncovered at one point.
So
See,
people had
that's-
put this on there, right? So this big record of it, so adults had physically picked this up and put it on there and everything. So
That's
I
correct.
think to put into my motion, it should be professionally
Yeah,
secured.
capped. I
Okay.
know. That makes me
Yeah, capped,
nervous
secured.
too.
All right, so for the well that's in the barn, permanently secured,
Yeah, permanently
Yeah.
/ professionally
or
secured.
professionally
Yeah.
secured.
Yeah, and then a licensed plumber to do all the plumbing upgrades, keeping everything separate from the two wells and obviously the water supply.
And we'll have a plan showing the two
Yep.
wells at the property, just so we have as part
Yep.
of the permanent record.
Yeah, so
Yes.
if it gets transferred, yes.
Okay.
And I second that motion. All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, it looks like we just had a discussion with the animal control.
Yes. So, thank you. We have a discussion item here for animal control. We have our animal control officer, Amy Contois, here regarding a licensed dog at the property at 23 Perry Street. Amy?
Thank you. I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention that we do have a dog at 23 Perry Street, licensed to William and Lisa Chapdelaine. Fortunately, I did reach out to Lisa. She wasn't able to attend today's meeting, unfortunately. Dog in question, her name is Brownie. She's a 7-year-old. We have her listed and licensed as a lab beagle mix. And unfortunately, we do have a multiple bite history of this dog, a bite history to family members in the home. So I did want to bring it to the board's attention if we do move forward with possibly requesting a nuisance or dangerous dog hearing. Because with the recent bylaw updates of 2015, the hearing authority was switched over to the Board of Health, and since that switch has been made, we haven't had a dangerous or nuisance dog hearing. So I did want to provide you guys with the guidelines for those hearings, because they do fall under Mass General Law. It's Chapter 140, Section 157, and the MGL structures how those hearings are held, and decisions that the board is able to make if you take one.
Thank you.
And at this time, because it's not a hearing and because the owner's not present, I'm not going to go into the details
Okay.
and evidence that would be brought forward during the hearing for what happened. But like I said, the dog has bitten, unfortunately, multiple times in the past about year and a half to 2 years.
So if I may, the Mass General Law that Amy is referring to outlines what the requirements are for these type of hearings. And just in general, if we were to move forward with a hearing for a dangerous dog, the animal control officer would identify what requirements would need to be met within the hearing. If if a hearing is required, we would have a meeting from the board, and the dog owner would be obviously invited to this public hearing. There are certain timelines that have to be followed, so we would have to be cognizant of those timelines. So at this point, you have the Mass General Law. It would give you an overview of what hearings, what is involved in a hearing, and what determinations are made at the hearing. So obviously, animal control would present the facts of the hearing, would be able to answer questions regarding why concerns are being identified, and obviously the owner would have a chance to also identify the steps that they're taking on their end. But wanted to bring it to your attention just because it's not something that this board specifically has dealt with before, but this kind of gives you an overview generally about a hearing.
Did you get the report from them, the trainer behaviorist?
So I did, I believe there's included in that, there is an email from the owner, Lisa Chapdelaine, where she did contact a Petco trainer who
Okay.
spoke with them. She said she did reach out to, so I had asked for more behaviorist, because the issues with the dog kind of exceeds basic training, and it's more of a behavioral issue. And unfortunately, she reached out to 3 of the places that I suggested. She said she didn't hear back from 2 of them, and one of them was quite pricey for just a consultation. So she did say that she was going to be working towards still finding a behaviorist to try to work with. But that in the meantime, she did bring her dog to a trainer to try to get some guidance. And most recently, when she did respond to my email about this meeting tonight, she said she's waiting for a training schedule, so it sounds like she's on the path to still continue working with a trainer, but those training sessions haven't occurred yet. And just to summarize, because it's kind of lengthy, this MGL, so when a hearing happens, the board would have the decision to, you can either, if it's going to be presented as a nuisance dog, you can deem the dog a nuisance or dismiss the claim. If it's being brought forward as a dangerous dog hearing, the board would be able to deem the dog dangerous, deem the dog a nuisance, or dismiss.
So we don't have to take any motion on this tonight, this is more
It's
just
just
kind of,
just
it's just a FYI, this may be coming down and everything too.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Planning board tonight? Tomorrow night, okay.
Any questions? I know the Mass General Law, it's kind of, it is lengthy. It'll give you some time
I
to
appreciate
kind of read ahead of time and,
So one of the differences in this between a nuisance dog and a dangerous dog, if the board were to deem any dog dangerous, there's strict guidelines in here for what has to follow with a dangerous dog. So I believe it's on the very bottom of the first page, starting with section 4, subsection B, starting with there and going on to the second page. There are certain things that the board would have to select from pretty much a list of ways to handle a dangerous dog. It can be anything from confining the dog in a kennel on the property if it's outside, to wearing a muzzle if it's off the property, different things, and one of those also being euthanasia. But only one, so I believe one or more has to be chosen. Whereas if you're deeming a dog a nuisance, it gives the board a little bit more leeway to say, to make their own recommendations. That makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And actually, while Amy is here, before you leave, Amy, can you just give the board just a quick update on where we are for licenses, since we January starts a new licensing year for 2018. However, 2017, I think we have some successful numbers that Amy wanted to share.
So with 2017, we're continuing to increase the number of dogs that are licensed. By the end of the year, we did have about just under 2,500. So I believe the number was 2481. So that's a big increase in the past couple of years. Really reflects the combined effort between our department and the town clerk's office. It's increased since about, I think, significantly increased. And we are starting the new licensing year as of January 1st, and we've already had a good number of people coming in and licensing. This licensing period is also the first time that we're offering in the new licensing year to any citizens in town 70 years and older. They can license one dog free of charge at their property. So it is something very nice to have available to the senior citizens in town. And we did also just go live with a new online licensing system, which really makes it a lot easier for owners to go online. They just need their address and their last name, and they're able to get the information for their dog, see any outstanding charges that they might have, or their new fee for this year, submit their payment online, and then processed by the town clerk's office, and they'll get their license in the mail.
Oh, that's excellent.
We also, Amy has also done a ton of work over the past couple of years to be able to get a lot of the electronic, like email addresses and so forth, and done a lot for social media to remind people to get licensed and try to make it as easy as possible. We will be having a rabies clinic sometime in the spring. She's tried to have a couple of clinics each year to, again, try to make it as easy as possible to get your animal rabies vaccinated, and other vaccines are also offered on that day, microchipped, and licensing as well. So, thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
All right. Is it okay
Yeah.
for me to
Yeah.
continue?
All right.
All right.
Feel
So,
liberating.
maybe you don't have to stay. So I think I have copies of just correspondences that we put out since the last meeting in your packets. The one thing that I did want to just identify that I think I had mentioned. So because we are actually in the storm, in the stormy weather with the severe storm that we had last week, I wanted to, you may be aware of it, but wanted to just kind of update everybody. With the holiday weeks, we have a handful of holidays that when those occur, the normal trash delivery gets delayed one day. So last week, with it being New Year's, we were already on a one-day delay for last week. With the storm that occurred on Thursday, kind of put a monkey wrench into the schedule that was already delayed by one day. So Republic Services is our contractor that picks up the trash. We had been informed that due to the weather going going to have to cancel Thursday's services for trash pickup. So alternate plans had to be put in place. So a delay was made last week. A code red message was put out, messages on social media, and basically town website, every way that we could put out the messages, we did that on Wednesday, late morning, early afternoon. Due to the confusion of the storm occurring and everybody getting switched from their normal day, what occurred from Friday's delivery, which normally would have been picked up on Saturday, because there was a shift in the storm that caused the delay of Friday route customers to be delayed until this coming Friday to be picked up. So obviously, an inconvenience for people. We have tried to alleviate some of the inconveniences. So for Friday route customers and anybody that was delayed on that day, to not have to use the blue bags, the blue overflow bags. That trash will be picked up for Friday customers this coming Friday. So in addition to that, we have been in contact with Republic today, and we have worked with them to be able to provide another option for people. Republic will be bringing us a dumpster down to the DPW highway yard, so that if somebody on the Friday route needs to bring down trash ahead of this coming Friday, they will have that ability to come down to the DPW and drop off their municipal trash. This is going to be for our municipal customers only, and bagged trash only. So then people are not required to use the blue bags. It's not for anything like bulk items. It's not for your stoves and refrigerators and hazardous waste. This is just for your regular household bag trash for people that were delayed due to the weather. So it's going to be for anybody, any municipal customer that has had their trash missed or delayed. They'll have the option to come down to DPW and dispose of their trash. Because our leaf pile yard is open, it will, you just have to bring an ID noting that you are an Auburn resident, for the municipal trash system. So that is, that's new information as of today. And obviously, we appreciate everybody's patience while we get through this unusual set of circumstances. So we appreciate everybody's patience while we get through it. This Friday, if people don't want to use the service, they're not required to, but this Friday, all of the Friday trash will be picked up as identified. So that information will be going out on the town website, the social media, code red, sometime this evening. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. Any questions on that? I have to say, I know that our clerks have received a ton of phone calls, and really so many people are very accommodating, and we appreciate it. So thank you very much, everybody. Also, an update on the waste reduction enforcement coordinator. As I had mentioned, Erica Lucier, who is new to the position for the past few months, she's been out in the community. She's out 3 days a week out in the community trying to provide education on what the rules and regulations are for handling trash and recycling, trying to bring awareness to people that are putting recycling into the trash toter or putting the wrong items into the recycling container. So she's doing a great job. She's made up a number of different pamphlets. We've also received some materials from Department of Environmental Protection, some actual printed tags and so forth to help people understand that. We also have put educational information into the newsletters. I believe there is an article.
Yeah, it's good.
So there's an article that just went in this past week, I believe. So we're really trying to get the word out to people to bring awareness that we're paying too much for trash. People are overloading the toters and not using the blue bags. We have the wrong items going into recycling, causing problems for us for disposal. So we're trying to just bring awareness to people through education. So through the newspaper, social media, on the town website. She's updated everything on the town website. She's prepared flyers. The Solid Waste Advisory Committee are also working on, improvements of how to make it easier for people to recycle right and to keep trash in compliance with the rules and regulations. So I just wanted to kind of let you know there's a lot of information. Hopefully you're seeing it, and certainly let us know if you have questions. But to be able to use those blue bags when you have overflow trash, and to not overflow the trash total. Central Mass Mosquito Control, they actually are working, they work year-round. They're doing brush cutting and typical actions that they do in the winter months. The emergency preparedness point of dispensing, I wanted to let you know that we do have, we had the EDS drill that obviously Carolyn were a part of, and that occurred right before the holidays. We had the support of the CERT team, and it really was an awesome drill. We couldn't have done it without Tony Pellegrino and his team, and it was a great experience to be able to actually set up an emergency dispensing site as if we were going to dispense medications. So it gave us a chance to kind of work through some of the issues. We definitely identified ways that we could improve moving people through the site. What things we could possibly change in order to move large amounts of people through that site. Everything just down to like fine details. We are still awaiting the basically the review from the state and the regional observers. So we will have, we should have that hopefully within the next month. So I'll share that with you probably at the next meeting, and we'll be able to maybe have like a short report to provide to you. Point of dispensing. One thing that I did want to identify, there's also another choice for being prepared, and I'll have you share. This is a sample letter that our regional planner has shared with us. It's something that can be sent out to businesses to be able to make sure that they're prepared on a local level. So if we had to dispense large amounts of medications to the town residents and to people in Auburn. What are some ways that we could do to help improve getting medications out and keeping people self-sustained? So, for example, like the places like the assisted care living, nursing homes, long-term care, those type of places. They have medical staff there. You know, could we work with them ahead of time and be able to identify dropping off a stash of medications to somebody who is licensed and able to handle distribution of medications. So this is, they call that point of dispensing. This would be a sample letter that we would send out to see if people would be interested, businesses would be interested in this course of action. I wanted to share this with you to kind of get your thoughts. This is something basically just reaching out to see, are people interested in doing this? If they are, great. If they're not, it's not like it's going to be a requirement. We're just looking for different ways to be able to communicate and be able to handle being prepared in many different aspects. So this is a sample letter to be able to share with people. Our planner, Jamie Terry, prepared this. She has offered it going out as a letter under our signature or under her signature. I wanted to bring it to the board to make sure that you were comfortable with it. Obviously, I would feel more comfortable if it went out under, you know, a staff member here. So myself and Eileen would work to see if businesses are interested in this. I think this is just really kind of a first step to see if, you know, this would be a way to handle another preparedness aspect. So you don't have to respond right now. It's something that we can discuss at the next meeting. You know, it's.
I think we can belabor it any longer. I mean, I think it's a good idea, and just that would just.
Awesome.
Yeah, I do too.
Cool. Thank you. Will do. Flu season, I think we've done approximately about 120 plus flu vaccines. Wanted to just give you an update on that. Ethics training, I believe that we've received all of the necessary paperwork from all the board members, and I know that you've already been down to the town clerk, so I think we are all square there. Office update, I think that you may have seen in the hallway some changes, some physical changes going on. We are looking to expand some of the workspace in the office. So the facilities team at DPW is helping transform some additional space for working, and I'd like to let you know that Jordan Brusso is the newest member of our team. I think I have identified that, but she hasn't been able to come to an actual meeting yet. So Jordan has been out with various inspections with Eileen, myself, Paula, and basically she's come to us at a busy time of the year, so she's absorbing a lot and you know, getting to learn the crash course. So so we're thrilled to have her here. So just wanted to we're fortunate to have her this evening. As far as inspections, Eileen obviously is not here. However, we do have, Paula, help me on this, I believe we're down to, for food renewals, I believe we have 2 establishments that we have not received payment yet from. Typically, January, February, we usually inform the board of anybody that was late on licensing, excuse me, and any establishments right now, if they haven't licensed, they don't have a valid permit to sell food. So we have 2 right now. I know that Paula has made attempts to get them to be licensed. And Paula, at this point, have they identified that they are coming in at this point? No response at this point. So what I would request from the board is if, normally what our course of action is, we would reach out to them through written communication, let them know that they no longer have a valid permit, and to cease operation. And if we don't get payment, we would put them on for the next board meeting.
Okay, yeah, so moved.
Yes. I second the motion.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, and I think we have,
Just curious, have
Oh.
they ever done that before, these
So,
particular establishments?
yeah, unfortunately, we do, this time of year, we do usually have a couple.
I mean, these particular 2, have they done that? You know?
We have
Just say
one,
no.
yes,
Repeat
oh,
offender?
yes, both of them, okay,
Wow.
I'm being told both. So, we will send a message that they're to come in immediately. Okay, so for the communicable disease report from the public health nurse. How many did you answer? Any questions for the nurse?
Nope.
Okay. All right. And I have, so we have scheduled next meetings. We have a proposed date in February. However, I did want to just see if the board has any availability for anything before February 12th as well, just as an option, just in case we need to meet any requirements for hearings as identified by animal control.
I have the 5th open.
As far as I know, I
Okay, February 5th?
open, yeah.
Okay.
I'm traveling, I'm back.
So that is there anything else for this month? Even on a non-traditional day?
For this month. 22nd.
The 22nd's iffy for me,
Okay.
yeah.
I could send out an email to Steve
Yeah.
also.
Okay, so the 22nd, Eric, you are available, but Carolyn may not be. Okay. All right, and then you also identified the 5th, right? Is that okay for both of you?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that gives us at least a couple for us to play with. Does that work well? Because Paula usually tries to send out the
Yes.
email and we coordinate days.
That does.
Does that work okay?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so we'll work on that and we'll figure out when our next meeting day is. All right. Any questions for me? Anything?
No.
Okay. I don't believe I have. Paula, do we have anything else that we need to? Okay. So I think that's all I have.
We've gotten everything.
And we are all done. Thank you, and good night.
Mission to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn? Do you second motion?
Yeah, second.
I second motion.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.